Hi, and welcome to the Geared Life with me, Megan Aroon, your host. Just a little background on who I am and why I'm starting this channel and what to expect from me. So, I'm a full time professional artist. I've been painting, I've created thousands and thousands of works of art over the past 18 years. It's my passion, it's what drives me, it gives me life, it's a part of my soul. Each painting that I create, I mean, you can see some of them behind me, and they're all gear inspired. Now that is where my art has taken me. I've painted many different things over the years, um, but the gear paintings are such a part of who I am because my other passion in life, outside of painting, is riding my bike. I've been an addicted cyclist since I turned 39. I'm 53 now, so like 14, almost 15 years. I've raced mountain bikes, I've raced gravel. I had my own mountain biking team wearing jerseys and shorts and stuff with my gear art on it several years ago, back pre-pandemic, maybe a little after, post-pandemic. And then I've been doing van life for the last 4 years full time. And I took my bike with me to travel around the country, seen some of the most, there we go, sorry. And innovation be fun and inspire the youngest generation of girls that will have this love of STEM and art to carry them through life. Whether they do anything in those fields or not, they'll have an understanding and appreciation of how important it is for all of us. So that's a big part of where I'm going with my art. So you'll see some of that. But then along with that is my the Age of Women series that when I create these paintings, I've done 5 of them so far. I just finished one the other day and I'm obsessed with her. I'm going to put up a story or shortly revealing her. And then I'll be doing more videos about the in-depth whys of who she is and why I painted her and what she means to me and to you. And when I paint the Age of Women paintings and they're finished, I see a part of me looking back at me. It's as though a piece of my soul goes into that painting. And with each new painting in the Age of Women series that I create, they each get a little piece of my soul, but the next one fulfills that space that was put into the previous painting. So it's like this beautiful synchronized or synchronicity. No, that's not quite the right verbiage grammar, but you know what I mean. But I just feel this connection to these paintings that I've never felt with anything I've ever painted before. That when I finished this last one, Love Yourself, I was basically in tears because the feelings that it invoked in me were just, I want to empower you. I want to inspire you to feel what I feel, to be passionate about women's rights and being mothers and having careers. And not that we can do it all, but you can do whatever you want. There are no rules for us. We make the rules as women. And we're a powerful force. And not often enough is that related to each and every one of us. And again, which kind of ties in with the Geartopia, the Gear Bears world, is to inspire that same feeling of empowerment and creativity, innovation, curiosity in our youngest generations, all the way up to women in their 90s, 100, whatever. We all have the right to exist as ourselves, as who we want to be. And so that's kind of what this channel is going to be about through the art that I'm going to share with you, the meanings and the whys I create each painting that I do. And then there'll be times that maybe I'll just come on here and just have a little chat about something that might be on my mind or something in the news that sparked me to say, I have something to say. I want to say something about this. And I want to have a voice that inspires and empowers all of you to also speak out about anything that's important to you. Feel that you have that right, that you don't need to ask permission, that you get to talk about whatever it is that matters to you. We all have a voice and we should all use it however we see fit. And for me, that's what I'm doing here. So, quick little background on me as well. I grew up in the bush of Alaska, completely off grid. I lived in a floating house because the tide comes in and out there, up to like 20-foot difference in tide. So the house would go completely dry twice a day and then be floating again twice a day. So it was a very interesting, different way to live, certainly. And when I say off grid, I mean off grid. There was nobody else. It was just my family. I have 4 siblings and my mom and dad. And there's a tiny little community called Myers Chuck. It's about 40 miles north of Ketchikan, the first city that you come to in Alaska, southeast Alaska. So it's very mild. It's actually a temperate rainforest, a lot of rain. So winters can be very not so nice, which is why I live in Florida and have lived in Florida most of my adult life. But so, yeah, I grew up there out in the middle of nowhere. My family, we took our float house. We lived in Myers Chuck, where there was a community there with lots of other family. Grandpa and grandma lived there, aunts and uncles and cousins. But my parents wanted to move even further out after we moved there. So we moved there when I was 4, almost 5. And so we lived in Myers Chuck for the first couple of years, and then we moved over to an area further outside, completely away from everybody, called Union Bay. And we lived there, until I left when I was 15 and went into Ketchikan to go to high school there, stayed with my aunt and uncle. But yeah, so I used to take a boat to school. We were homeschooled for many years. And then we ended up taking a tiny little open skiff from our floating house over in Union Bay to Myers Chuck to the school there. It's a 1-room school. And then I knew I wanted to go to college. It was just a dream of mine. And I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I was, but I'm like, this is something I need to do for me. And just living out there, obviously there weren't options for extracurricular activities. Was involved in running. I competitively ran and would go around to different communities in Southeast Alaska with my schoolmates out from Myers Chuck and go run. I'm like, there's so much more. And I don't feel like if I stay in Myers Chuck, I'm going to be able to go to college. And it was just a goal of mine that I'm going to do that. And I was extremely shy, like horribly, terribly shy. I had a hard time speaking to people, but I'm like, I'm going to overcome that. So I ended up moving into Ketchikan, stayed with my aunt and uncle for like a year and a half. And then I stayed with another uncle for my senior year. And I ended up being able to go to college in Hawaii. I wanted to go somewhere warm. So I went there for 2 years. Well, and when I was going to college or high school in Ketchikan, I had my American government teacher, just the way that he taught American government. I don't know, there was something about it that really piqued my interest in politics and government. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to be a lawyer. I don't know why, but that was just really made me think that's what I wanted to do. So I went to Hawaii for 2 years, and then I got like island fever, whatever. And so I went back to Alaska for a summer, spent the summer there for about a month. And then I took a bus. I had $150 in my pocket, took a bus from Seattle all the way to Orlando, Florida, decided, okay, I still want to go somewhere warm. Where should I go? And just randomly picked Orlando. Don't ask me why. I couldn't even explain it to you. So I took the bus, took 3 days, got there, $150 in my pocket. This is pre-internet, we're talking, I graduated high school in 90, so this was 92. And I stayed at a hostel. I got a newspaper, found this woman who was looking for a roommate. I didn't even have a job. I was going to go to school, finish getting my, some classes to get the AA and then transfer to the So I went to Valencia Community College for like a semester or so. And then I was going to go transfer to the University of Central Florida. So I found this woman. I'm like, I don't have a job, but I'm going to get a job. I have like student loan money coming in. She's like, yeah, sure, no problem. And rented a room. I got a job, was going to school, met my now ex-husband, and I ended up getting pregnant. Oops. things happen. And then so I flew back to Alaska to have my daughter. I was up there for most of the time that I was pregnant. And then I came back to Florida as a single mom and went right back to school to the University of Central Florida. I wasn't going to let anything, stop my dreams. And why should I? Why should any of us? There's no reason, so many people are like, oh, she'll never go back to college. She's a single mom now. There's no way. How's she going to do that? And I'm like, watch me. And I did. Just me and my daughter for the first year. And then her dad and I got back together, and we'll maybe touch on that another day. Wasn't a good situation for many years. So then eventually got married, lived in Orlando for many, many years. So then I also continued on and got my master's degree. But I decided after I had my daughter, I didn't want to be a lawyer because I had this professor. I was taking international law, and I took international law 1 and 2 with her at the University of Central Florida, UCF. And she said something that really just struck home with me because it was just my daughter and I at that point. The only person in her life that I had a little bit of like some second cousins and stuff there, but no real family or anybody. It was just her and I. And she's my whole world. And my professor said to me, she's like, one of her biggest regrets, because she was a lawyer and she was working like 80 hours a week. And with both of her 2 daughters who are older now, but she said, she remembered that even as she was giving birth, she was doing these briefs. She had somebody there, like a law clerk or whatever. Oh, we got to get this in. And as she's in active labor, and she says she really regrets not, when her daughters were younger, not having spent that time with them because she was working on her, becoming a lawyer, getting a partnership somewhere, just that was her whole goal. And I'm like, I don't want to do that to my daughter, especially as a single mom. I don't have any backup. It's just me. So I said, all right, we're going to change course here. And I still studied political science because I just found it's a fascinating subject. But I switched my focus to international relations and gender theory. So from way back when I was in my early 20s and I was going to college, I have always had a passion for women's rights, equality. And when I was doing my master's degree, there was roughly 22 students, I think. 2 of us were women, the rest were men. And there were times when, the male professors would be speaking with after class, talking to the men. They'd be in their little male huddles. And my friend and I would walk by, and, oh, what's going on, and try to jump in. And they'd literally just shut us out. They'd surround each other. It's like this. And it's like, okay, whatever. I don't need that. I'm doing this for me. I don't need to be involved in your male misogynistic huddle here. I'm getting what I need out of this. It's empowering me even more, just being in a very male-dominated college education, so to speak. And hopefully that's changed some. I got my master's degree in 99, and then I ended up going for 4 months. I taught high school. I taught world history and geography, and it wasn't for me. Not so much because of the kids, the administration, and just the demands. My daughter was 5 at the time, and I was raising my stepson as well and married. So then I went back to UCF, and I worked as an assistant editor on a couple of political science journals for several years. And then I stopped that, and I ended up getting my residential contractor's license. And my ex and I had a business where we built custom homes with my license. And again, another male-dominated field. Can't seem to keep myself out of that. But then I never questioned that. I'm like, I never questioned that I didn't belong there. I'm like, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And whether it's, traditionally a male dominated field or not, which it just tended to be for whatever reason, I just did it. There's no questions. I'm like, I can do whatever it is that I put my mind to. I have no doubt of that. And I've never have. So did that for many years. And then in 2007, I ended up, story for a different time, how this came about. But yeah, so then I ended up becoming a full-time artist. And again, another male dominated field in the sense that there's probably more women artists across all the fields of creativity, art, but the ones that get the most recognition, like you look at in museums or galleries or the history books, it's so dominated by men. Again, I don't care. I want to make waves. I want to change some of that by working the hardest that I can as something that I'm passionate about. I'm not going to let it stop me just because, oh, maybe I will never get into a museum or it's harder to get into galleries. Whatever. I know I can create just as well, if not better, than a lot of men out there. And I'm not saying that to be boastful or anything. It's literally just that I've really worked hard on my craft, and I know I create good art. Some people may not like it. It obviously may not be for them, especially, some men when it comes to my Age of Women series. I mean, they probably like these because I've created some of these similar abstract ones in the past and men bought them. So it's fine. It is just, we have to approach things in our life as not that we're being excluded from them as women, but rather that we're going to make change as women. We are change makers, you and I. And by being in male dominated fields, that's what we're doing. We're helping to forward that change, and hopefully things will get better for the next generation. We have to make those moves and not let it deter us in any way. And I never have. And that is kind of funny. So like I'd mentioned earlier, I used to mountain bike race and have a team. Again, a very highly dominated male sport. But I was like, this is something I'm passionate about. I love this. I love racing my bike. So I'm going to do it. So a very trending theme throughout my life has always been doing things in male dominated fields or spheres or spaces. And maybe that's just I think it's made me more confident. Certainly hasn't detracted me from doing anything that I want to do. I will do it regardless, whatever it may be. And so a lot of the things I'll be touching on with this series, with this channel is, women's empowerment and inspiring women and combining the masculine and the feminine, because we have that in us. Everybody has that in us. So, there's things about us that are feminine. Embrace the femininity. And if you want to do something that's, more masculine, say like racing mountain bikes, embrace that too. Embrace whatever it is that you want to do, regardless of if it's traditionally considered something a woman should do or not. Who cares? Do what you want. That's what I do. So that's just kind of a little bit of background on me, the reason why I'm doing this channel, I want to inspire and empower other women to live their life like I have, to not be afraid to do whatever it is you want, just to do it. So yeah, we'll get into more in-depth, specific issues or stories or themes, but all centered around that, to empower and inspire you to be your best self. Sure, that's corny, but how true is it? Sometimes the corniest things really are the most powerful. And that's why they're corny, because so many have said them so many times, but it is true. It is absolutely true. So I hope you will subscribe and join me on this journey of empowerment and inspiration through gears and art.